All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberley City Council meeting for Monday, April the 8th, held here at Kukumanum on the homelands of the Ktunaxa peoples. We have a relatively short agenda tonight, but we also have an in-camera, so we can't get too dilly-dally too much on the regular agenda. Thank you, staff, for being here. We have a member of the gallery here with us tonight, and welcome everybody who's watching on YouTube. Do we have any late items this evening, Maurice?
There's no late item, Mr. Mayor.
All right, hearing none, could I have a mover to adopt the agenda? Councillor Cairns moves and Councillor McGuire seconds. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Next up, we have adoption of the council minutes from the regular meeting held on March the 25th. Councillor Roberts moves, Councillor McGuire seconds. All those in favor? That motion is carried. And finally, we have the minutes of the special meeting of council held on April the 3rd. Mover, please. Councillor McGuire, thank you. And Councillor McBain seconds. All those in favor? The motion is carried. All right, excellent. Before we move into the delegation this evening, I have a presentation that I would like to make. And it is to Victoria Lynn Lucas. Hey, Vicky. Vicky has just completed her certification in local government administration. She's been working on this for quite some time now in her spare time, over and above the job, which we truly appreciate. So if you could step into the gallery area over here, Vicky, I will present this. Congratulations. Big work.
You need to go the other way.
Yes, so. Right. Congratulations. So these courses that staff take in local government administration are not walks in the park. These are essentially university courses that are taken in spare time because they still have to get the job done. And to achieve that level of certification in a relatively short period of time, actually. Congratulations, Vicky. Nicely done. Okay, we have a delegation this evening. Pardon me, Aaron Toop is here to brief us on the Cranbrook Regional Transit Strategy with a couple of requests from us that we'll get into following the presentation. Aaron, it's all yours.
Great. Thank you. Can you hear me this time?
We can.
Okay, perfect. All right, thanks very much for having me. I'm hoping you're looking at my slide right now on your screen. My name is Aaron Toop, and oh, apologies for that. Is the screen being shared on your end?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I will carry on then. Let me just rearrange things quickly. All right, thank you again. I would also just like to acknowledge that Leading Mobility, shown in the logo on the bottom of the slide, was the lead firm on this study, and we were supported by Maria Stambro at CNS Planning Group, who led the engagement component of this study. I'd also just like to acknowledge that this project study area is in the traditional and unceded territory of the Ktunaxa people. So we'll go to the next slide for whoever's navigating. Thank you. And then on the project overview slide, this project is a result of ongoing discussions between the City of Cranbrook and ACOM about the longstanding transportation gaps between the communities and the airport. We extended engagement to a broader area, and through discussions with Troy starting kind of early summer last year, we identified early that there was an opportunity to integrate Kimberley into the solutions and next steps on this project. This planning study was fully funded through the Federal Rural Transit Solutions Fund. Given the known public transit gaps, it's not a surprise then on the next slide to see that ACOM, St. Eugene Resort and Casino, and the airport are not covered by existing transit services. But what is surprising is how multiple different routes are going right by these locations. So on this map, the conventional transit routes are shown in the thin lines, and they offer service typically 5 days a week or more. The wider lines are health connection services, which only run a few days per week, often in only one round trip per day. Kimberley's Route 21 is an exception to this. It's the same routing as Route 22 shown on the map, but it's the health connection on request service, and it does operate 3 trips per day, 5 days per week. So a more frequent than usual health connection service. We'll go to the next slide. There are 3 different public transit funders in the study area. Interior Health funds the health connections, but budget for these health connection services has never increased beyond keeping up with inflation. Under the BC Transit Act, only local governments can enter agreements with BC Transit for transit services. Indigenous communities are currently unable to work directly with BC Transit under this legislation. Because of the many BC Transit services in the study area, we've assumed that the BC Transit delivery model would be used for new regional transit options connecting ACOM, and that there will be changes made to this model over time. Under the model, transit services are subsidized in the range of 47% to 67%. So next slide, please. Through the stakeholder engagement and discussions between Cranbrook and Kimberley administrations, there was general agreement that RDEK could play a bigger role in facilitating new and integrating existing transit services within the study area. A role like this is very in alignment with RDEK's most recent strategic plan, particularly when it comes to working with ACOM to advance mutual goals and interests. We'll go to the next slide. And this is just a quick slide for context showing that there is an example of an integrated regional transit system right next door in the West Kootenays, and that's administered by the RDCK. On the next slide, this is a final note which underscores the timeliness and alignment of this study with other initiatives. So in spring 2023, the province of BC, we'll go to the next slide with the rainbow colors. In spring 2023, the province, thanks of BC, provided ETSI-BC with funding to complete a study of regional ground transportation gaps in the southern interior. The ETSI-BC study, of which Kimberley was a key stakeholder, highlights several advocacy opportunities to address public transportation gaps, including increasing health connections funding, expanding BC Transit funding for regional transit services, changing the Local Government Act to more easily enable regional districts to support transit and to take on the role of expanding transit options, and amending the BC Transit Act to enable Indigenous communities to be sponsoring partners of transit service, and then also modernizing the types of transit services to align with rural and regional transportation needs. So this work is very in alignment with these findings. On the next slide, through engagement with the Cranbrook Regional Transit Study, we heard very clearly, loud and clear, about the transportation needs of the ACOM community and about the potential benefits that transit could provide to the community. The ACOM Health and Wellness Program provides transportation service between ACOM and Cranbrook on weekdays, and it's seen a 4-fold increase in the transportation requests to the program. This health and wellness transportation service is very well aligned with the purpose of BC Transit's health connection services, and so we're seeing this as kind of a key opportunity to integrate ACOM into the existing health connection service. ACOM community members also highlighted the need for transportation service for other purposes like work, school, and shopping. On the next slide, with the public engagement overview, from June 2023 to February 2024, over 1,500 people weighed in about regional transit options through 3 different surveys, which were targeted at different populations across the region. On the next slide, of the 1,534 people who completed our surveys, 92% are interested in using regional transit services. In the case of Cranbrook, Acom, and Kimberley, we heard from significant portions of the population in each community, and that's shown on the left of the slide. The most popular destination in all of the study area is the Canadian Rockies International Airport, and that's followed by Cranbrook and then Kimberley. For Acom community members, the primary destinations are St. Eugene Resort, Cranbrook, Acom, the airport, and Kimberley. And the engagement results are really clearly showing a key need for better connectivity between these destinations. So within the core study area, in the dashed box on the slide, Cranbrook, Acom, St. Eugene Resort, Kimberley, and the airport. So to address this need, we'll go to the next slide. We developed 3 different transit service concepts. The concepts vary in terms of governance complexity and therefore implementation timelines. What we saw in this study is that there is an appetite for collaboration between communities at the administration level and an interest from community members in having a seamless inter-community travel option. The RDEK is in the best position to deliver on this opportunity and would be the lead and local government partner for a regionally integrated transit service connecting all of these study area destinations. In the interim, while work is underway to establish a regional transit entity through the RDEK, there's an option to connect Acom to Cranbrook and Kimberley through the extension of Kimberley's existing health connection service. There's also an opportunity to have BC Transit conduct more detailed planning work on a service between Cranbrook, Acom, and the airport via Cranbrook's upcoming Transit Future Service Plan. And the City of Kimberley is also a key stakeholder in Cranbrook's upcoming service plan. So to close, the key study recommendation to enable next steps is for each council to pass resolutions to bring the findings of this study to the RDEK board. Acom and City of Cranbrook councils have already taken this step. For Kimberley, there's also a recommendation in the study to work with Acom to initiate a meeting with Interior Health and BC Transit to discuss the opportunity to extend eligibility of Kimberley's health connection to Acom. We won't know until having this discussion with BC Transit, but we think there's an opportunity to do this for low to no cost. And so we're calling it a quick win, despite there being possibly a little bit of bureaucracy within that quick win. So thank you. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Erin. Council, comments or questions? No. Troy, can I put you on the spot and ask you to kind of provide us an opinion piece on this?
Yes, of course, Ken. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, thank you, Erin, for the overview there of the report. This report was led by City of Cranbrook, and we did participate and provide some input and feedback on various steps along the way. Yeah, I think Erin clearly laid out the recommendation in front of council there, which is part of the next item on the agenda with our brief cover report there. But yeah, I mean, we see this at this stage is obviously there's other decisions to be made down the road, but this is a key part of informing that process and that working with our regional partners to try to improve regional transit. There may be other decision points for our council, or certainly for Regional District Board and other councils as well. But I think this is a fairly low risk step to take here to pass along or to support this resolution and pass this item along to the Regional District Board to open up engagement with them and see what possibilities are there. And of course, working with BC Transit, who we have a good relationship on our own services, and just to explore that further to see if we can perhaps expand that health connections route a little bit to provide some better service to our neighbors.
Right. Excellent. Thanks, Troy. Go ahead, Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've met a time or two with the Acom, and one of the things we've accomplished is a lovely memorandum of understanding that we will all try to work together. This just feels like one of the best choices that we could make right now in order to better cooperate and work together with our neighbors and provide a service that all of us are requiring right now. And I think we need to go forward with making the recommendation to RDEK and get this moving as quickly as possible.
Yeah, great points. Thanks for that. Councillor Dunneback, and then Councillor McGuire.
Thank you for the report. It's awesome. I guess it's hard to believe that there is nothing there for them right now. That's actually mind blowing to me. And 5 years seems like a really long time to get something like this implemented. I was just wondering if there's a way that it can be expedited to start some sort of study with maybe one bus to actually gain hard facts. So they have something in the meantime rather than waiting 5 years.
Thanks for that, Councillor Dunneback. The EC Transit moved very slowly. You'll notice that the expansion of our service on, is it 22, Troy? The Kimberley Cranbrook commuter. After we approved the expansion of that, it's taken 18 months before we're actually going to have some. I think it's about 18 months before we actually have something in service. Long time in any event. So your point's well taken. We'd love to move a little more quickly on these things. So Troy, just kind of tangentially but related, as we moved into COVID, both routes 21 and 22 were trending pretty high. We have pretty good usage on both of those. COVID was a bit of a hit. Where do we stand on usage right now? Not in terms of the exact numbers necessarily, but what's the trend looking like?
Yeah, I think last report, the ridership was trending up, and I believe that continues to be the case. I hope to have separate reports in front of council here before too long with just kind of an update on that and the expansion requests that were considered a while ago. So that just deals with our local services, the four routes that we have locally. So at a one of the next few meetings, should have that information put together for you.
All right, excellent. Thanks for that, Troy. Councillor McGuire.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to point out that it does say here that there is a common health and wellness program that provides transportation service between Acom and Cranbrook. So they do have something happening right now. I don't know if it's oversubscribed. And I guess that's a question for me is like, I'm reading through this data and the way that it's presented, and I'm just curious about that. It's seen a 4 times increase in the requests since mid-2023. Acom's a pretty small community. I'm just kind of wondering where they're at with that service and whether it's oversubscribed right now. Maybe that's a question for Aaron. And then the other question I had was around the Canadian Rockies International Airport, which seems to be the highest priority from pretty much all the communities, and whether there's any work being done on that particular. Aaron still here?
Yep.
I am still here. Can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Thanks for those questions. On the numbers from Acom in terms of exactly how many riders or subscribers they're having to the health and wellness services, I don't have the number. I think in this case, the need is not so much one that's kind of ridership driven, but really one to support sort of health and well-being of residents. But essentially, you have the facts that I have from the report that they're seeing a consistent increase in the need for the health and wellness transportation services. On transportation to the airport, I think there are private shuttle providers that are currently doing airport service, but this study was really the work to look at looping the airport into public transit services more holistically in the region. Does that help?
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I was just curious on that because it seemed like this study really, the data came back saying that we do need to focus on that international airport. And to me, the data isn't saying anything about this health and wellness program. So I was just curious why we're focusing on that as opposed to the airport.
Thanks for the comments. So, further, Aaron? Did you have further comment on that?
Yeah, I could if you'd like. I think one of them was definitely sort of a demand, like region-wide kind of destination. The other piece is really just that kind of transit as a baseline service to improve quality of life and people's access to other opportunities. So thinking of kind of we're tackling a variety of different needs, I guess, through this study.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Last call, council. Thanks very much for the presentation, Aaron. Appreciate you being here tonight, and we'll move on right now to the receipt and the motion that's on the table. And the first part of that motion is the council receive the report, and further the council requests that the recommendations of the transit study report be brought to the Regional District of East Kootenay Board for further review and consideration. Councillor McBain moves and Councillor McGuire seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion is carried. Awesome. Please stay tuned. More to come. Okay, next up, we have the 2024 BC Winter Games Legacy Grant applications and the voting period. The motion on the floor is the council receive the Legacy Grant applications report, and further that council complete the 2024 grants voting spreadsheet by Monday, April the 15th, and provide their completed spreadsheet to the Manager of Community Development for final compilation and inclusion in the April 22nd regular meeting agenda. Mover, please. Councillor Cairns, thank you. Councillor McBain seconds. Pam, that pretty much says it all.
I think so.
Anything to add?
No, I don't have anything to add, just that the funding comes from interest earned on past sporting events, and the money goes to support amateur sporting groups in the community. We received 8 applications for a total of about $19,000, and you have $7,582 to allocate, and those allocations by Monday, April 15th. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Council, questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion is carried. We have one item of correspondence this evening, and it's a letter from UBCM dated March the 21st, which is essentially saying, good job on the report. We qualify for the funds. Any further comments? Nope. Yeah, we'll proceed to the correspondence. Thanks, Councillor McBain. Councillor McGuire seconds. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, that is the end of the regular agenda. Prior to going in camera, any questions from the gallery? Yep, just step up to the microphone.
Being that it's transit at all.
Yeah. Please state your name.
Oh, Deb Hunter.
Thanks, Deb.
Okay. It's on the rise in the ridership for the health and wellness service. Do you know why that ridership is rising? Just a curious question. You know, I don't think you'd have the answer, but that would be my question.
Do you want to make a comment, Troy?
Yeah, can't say specifically why. Yes, don't really know, but yeah, we've noticed an increase in ridership across all of our services in general. So, I mean, it could be multiple things. You know, maybe an increase in people getting to health appointments, but there is other people that use that service just to get back and forth to Cranbrook as well for other needs. So,
Yes. Have a neighbor who uses
yeah.
that service.
Growing community, growing need for you know, lower cost transportation. So yeah, no surprise. I think that we're getting increased ridership.
Thank you. I just didn't know if it was related to a year ago, January, when you and the sergeant had talked about the excessive deaths in the city. And so I was just wondering if it had anything to do with injuries.
Yeah, no, not that I'm aware of either, Deb.
Okay.
I think it's just we've got a lot of people that live in Kimberley and work in Cranbrook and go from our health center to the hospital and, you know, other locations. And as Troy said, we've got a growing community and a growing amount of traffic going back and forth between here and Cranbrook. So it's all
Yes.
good.
Okay, great. And it would be good to expand the service.
Yeah,
Thanks.
excellent. Thanks, Deb. Councillor Roberts?
Mr. Mayor, one of the biggest reasons is it's the regional hospital. That's the place where you can get almost all your tests and those kinds of things that your GP has to send you there to for. And I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely hit the nail on that one, Sandra. Thank you. Okay, we, as I mentioned, we do have an in-camera tonight. Could I have a mover to go in camera, please? Councillor McGuire, thank you. And Councillor Dunneback seconds. All those in favor? That motion is carried. 2 minutes. Thanks for being here, Deb.